2023 CUSA Kickoff. We'll begin with a short opening statement from Jax State head coach Rich Rodriguez before opening it up to questions for him and our two student athletes.
Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here. First off, we'd like to thank Conference USA for inviting us to be part of their conference, and it's exciting for our university, for our athletic programs, and certainly for all the guys associated with our football program. This will be our second year, my second year as a head coach, and I've really enjoyed the process. We know that it is a process. Most teams that move up or universities that move up from FCS to FBS or 1AA, I still call 1AA to 1A, there's usually a time limit to come and compete, and we know that's part of the deal. But we've got some good players. They got a great attitude. I really love our staff, and I think everybody at the university is behind us and everybody in our community. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and certainly joining Conference USA with the schedule that we have, in particular some of the exposure we're going to get with the midweek games in October and all that's going to be a big boom, not only for our program but for the university and the city of Jacksonville. So we appreciate everybody's efforts in helping us achieve some success there.
Before we open it up to questions, just want to say thank you to those joining us today via Zoom. Be sure to type your question in the chat along with your name and affiliation. We will get to those once we finish in the room here. We'll open it up to questions.
Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mitch Lucas. I am from the footballbeat.com. I'm also from the Kilgore, Texas News Herald. I hope you guys are having a good week. I'm actually from the state of Alabama, know a little bit about the history of Jacksonville State. Hope that everything has gone well for you the last year, but I happen to know that Jacksonville State has got a great history with its football program. If you don't mind, could you talk a little bit about how, and I know recruiting is hard no matter what, you're going in people's homes, and I don't imagine, though, it's too hard to sell them on Jacksonville State. Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's not I guess a big secret in the state of Alabama where people have been around through Jax State, but it is, and we've always had success. One when we were Division II, then moved up, and one when we were 1AA, and now we're moving up. But if you looked, I got a little nervous when I looked at the history when we first moved from Division II to Division 1AA. We were 1-9 and 1-10. So the transitions aren't easy. Nobody expecting to do that. But football's been important, athletics has been important, but that's the thing that I'm probably most excited about is obviously the TV games, but when people find out about Jax State and about our school and our town and everything like that, the secret will be out, so to speak, about what a great place it is. And football is important in the state of Alabama, as we all know. It's important to us at Jax State, but it's more than that. I think our as coaches, it sounds kind of Pollyannish, but our number one goal, or at least my number one goal, is for our guys to truly enjoy the experience having been there. That's educational, that's football-wise, and all that. Now, I'm a big believer the best way to enjoy it is to win. Nobody's enjoying anything when you're losing, right? So that's part of the experience. But I think of all the history at Jax State, going back to your point, is that a lot of guys, and men and women, that have enjoyed their experiences because they had success athletically, and they also enjoyed, the campus and the town as well. So, and these guys could speak to that, but, it's a small little town. If you're looking for big city traffic, big city nightclubs, that ain't us. We got 3 stoplights. I don't think one of them works. We've got a beautiful campus. There's a couple nice restaurants. You get deals about every other night on meals around campus. So our guys are fed well. They're taken care of, and it's a lot of fun.
From Zoom, Maxwell Donaldson from the Gadsden Times. For the players, have you noticed anything different going through the offseason now that you're an FBS program?
We really ain't looking at nothing different. We just looking to prepare because we know we're going on to FBS. At the end of the day, it's football, so we just looking forward to coming out this year and competing and giving it our all.
Yeah, like Jero said, You know, there's not too much different. You know, the mindset got to be that we're playing better competition, so we got to play better. We got to grow as a team and play football better. That's it.
Rich, Jeff Nations with the Bowling Green Daily News. Just wanted to ask you, kind of give me the thought process on making this move now with this program. Why this conference? Why this time for Jacksonville State?
Well, I don't think we knew this. Greg Seitz or AD could probably tell you that, but I don't know if we knew this ahead of time, but I just saw where the fee to join 1A, FBS went from $500,000 to $5 million. So we got it just in time, right? So I'm wondering where we got an extra $4.5 million that we saved. I'm going to try to spend that money on our facility, but I think the timing was right for us to move up. Certainly for our university, it's a leap, and it costs more money to be Division 1A. It costs more money to be FBS, but it also requires better facilities and all that. And we had a plan to do that. This was in motion way before I got there. But I'm fortunate to be there at the time where we're building a new football facility, we're building a new dorms, we're building new cafeterias because the school is growing as well. So I think the timing was perfect for us. Certainly in football it was perfect, and it was time for me personally to be here, but in the transition. So I was glad we were there last year, even though we were kind of in between, weren't eligible for 1AA playoffs. We couldn't play in a bowl game, but the guys to the left of me and the other guys on campus did a great job of establishing the environment and the culture we want in the program. And we know there's work to do. I mean, you don't just all of a sudden become an FBS bowl team right away without a lot of hard work and really good players, and we're in that process.
Another one from Zoom, from Ryan Hennessy, NBC 13 Birmingham. For Coach, do you expect your team to make an impact right away in Conference USA, and where does Jack State stand in the conference?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I mean, everything's a little bit unknown until you've gone through a league one time. I did see, and I'm not a big read all the news, but I think we were picked 7th out of 9th in our one poll here, and an 8th, and so we're not even in the top half. But we weren't picked in the top half of the ASUN last year either. I tell everybody we made the top half possible. So, but it's going to be a challenge. We certainly, we didn't. Some people, when you make this move, they try to flip the entire roster as quickly as they can, and we just went about it as a normal process. Like I said, we had good players. We inherited some good players, so that was good, and we think we've done a pretty good job of recruiting. The thing I'm most proud of is how our guys come to work and how they realize that, hey, it is a different level. We need to work, step up our work ethic a little bit and our commitment to football. And the university has done that. The staff certainly has done that, and I think our players have as well.
Coach, James Sackley, White Red Sun.
You could just put the mic down and yell, because, hell, that's what I usually do. But go ahead.
Moving from 1AA to Division 1A.
See, you're just like me. The letters confuse you, don't you? It's like,
No,
it's 1A, yeah.
Saying 1A,
Yeah.
I mean, the FBS, FCS thing.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Point of it.
I'm with you.
But moving from 1AA to 1A, you have, I think, 22 more scholarships. When you're
Right.
doing your roster management, especially, how do you decide how you're going to allocate that, and what was your process for managing your roster now that you have more scholarships to put together your team?
Yeah, and that was part of the reason that even though the ASUN didn't recognize that we did, we weren't at 63 scholarships last year. I think that we're at 69 all told by the end of the season. But going to 85 is a different dynamic, and having had some experience. Obviously, I've been a Division I coach for 16, 17 years at other schools. You kind of have a formula how you break down your 85, how many quarterbacks you have, how many linemen you have on scholarship, how many running backs. And then you have an extra 1 or 2 variables with that. So we have kind of a formula to do that. What's challenging now is that roster management is more of a challenge than ever before, because with the transfer portal and all those things, you figure, okay, you say, oh, I got a freshman, I got him for 3 more years, or a sophomore, and that's not necessarily the case. Now, we've been fortunate. We haven't had a lot of guys jump in the portal, which I think speaks to them and to our university. But I think going forward, any coach will tell you the biggest challenge nowadays is being able to have a consistency with your roster management. And you have to, I told our coaches the goalposts have moved. We got to move with it. It's not easy. And you're going to get players that, unfortunately maybe try to get bought by other schools, bigger schools, Power 5 schools, and you got to do all you can not to let that happen. But if it happens, we'll go get the next one, So that's kind of our approach. We don't want to lose anybody that we think is a good player and is good for our program, but if they have a different type of idea of what their experience would be, or like I said, they're going to get paid big money by someone else, which happens, we'll go find another one. But fortunately for us, we haven't lost too many that way.
Thomas Ashworth, the Anniston Star, has questions for Traylon. Can you talk about the impact of returning 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen?
Yeah, it's huge for us. We got 4 guys that really know what to do. Brock Roby, my right guard, he's the glue that holds us together. Clay Webb is talented of a guy that I've ever played with. And Will Osteen, he was young in the system last year, but that man, he has a motor to him. So we're just looking for that right tackle. And we got a couple guys on the roster that's pretty good. KD, he's a young freshman, he's pretty good. And Xavier, he's a really good player too. So it's really huge for us. I just want to excel in the leadership and not just leading those guys, but leading the whole offense.
Tyler Waldrop from the Anniston Star asks for the players, what is it like to be out here at Media Day representing your team, and what does it mean to be the first student athletes at Jack State to play at the FBS level?
It means a lot to be here, to come out and represent Jack State. We finally moving up to FBS, so it's a great feeling to come out and represent.
Yeah, we're trailblazers, and I was speaking to my dad about it. He was like, yeah, this is going to be a historic year regardless. This is huge. Like, we've never been this high, and we're excited.
It's nice. I want to mention, these guys are kind of the outliers now. J-Ro's entering his 14th year in college. No, I think it's actually his 6th or 7th. His 6th? 7th, you know what I mean? And Trey's only been there 5 years. So you don't find that very often. And so I really give these guys a lot of credit. They wanted to get their degrees. They are. They did everything the way they wanted to do it, and we're just tickled. That's why we have great leadership. And not too many teams can speak about the number of years of experience. Add these 2 and Zion Webb, who's on about his 13th year, our quarterback. We've got a lot of experience, but we got a lot of maturity on this table, including me, I guess.
Joe Londergan from Athens Sports, Coach, what are your early thoughts on how you match up against UTEP for the Week 0 game?
UTEP's got a very good football team. I saw yesterday, I think they had 4 of the 5 preseason all-conference offensive linemen were UTEP, 4 of the 5. They had another guy or 2, and Coach Dimmel's done a great job there. So they're going to be one of the most talented teams in the league. They'll play hard. They're a veteran team. I think they're kind of like us. They got a few veterans, but they got really a veteran team up front offensively. So it's going to be a big challenge, and we know that. And it's kind of sometimes you'd rather ease into your conference. We're getting thrown into right now against one of the teams that I thought was one of the better teams in Conference USA last year.
I think the last question here for Coach: what does in-state games mean to you in the future?
Yeah, we've talked about that. With Alabama and Auburn, we'll play them every year as long as they give us $2 million a piece. If they want to play in the spring game and give us $1 million, we'll play them in the spring game. Maybe even pay them for $500,000. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But there's other teams. Troy was a longtime rival for us. I mean, there's some natural rivalries that could happen in the future in a non-conference game. But I think it's always great to be in a conference. Your first goal, obviously in-state games are important, rivalry games are important, but from the years I've done this, always your first goal competitively is your conference. What can you do in your conference? Can you win your conference? And so we'll talk about that tonight in our first team meeting. We'll talk about that a little bit, and then I don't believe in circling anybody, so to speak, but we will talk about how important every conference game is, and I think our guys realize that.
All right, thank you all very much for your time today. We'll have FIU up next at 8:50.
Okay, thanks.